Gina DeLuca here. Okay, today I'm going to be testing out the TriArt Liquid Glass on a ring pour. And I'm using, for my paints, I have Arteza Pearl Amethyst Purple, Artist Loft Metallic Cobalt Blue, Liquitex Basics Iridescent Graphite, and the Prism Pour in Morning Light. This is a kind of interference color, if I can get that to flash. It's a really, really beautiful color. So I have this this canvas. I tried 3 pours on this. Might have been 4. It may have been 4. And had to walk away. I just scraped it, put all of that into a bottle, and I'll use that as a base coat at some point. But that's why this is multicolored already. I have covered the edges with this iridescent graphite. It says that it's opaque. How can you tell? So this little box right here, if it is filled in, that means it's opaque. If it is only half filled in, like this one, that means it is semi-opaque or semi-transparent. If the box is not filled in at all, that is a transparent. Why you would need to know this? Knowing how your paints work together greatly improves the odds of you liking the painting at the end. When I'm doing a straight pour, usually I'm using an opaque as my background. Transparent paints, so most neon paints are transparent. And if you use the neon paint with black, it looks magnificent when it's wet. But when it dries, you'll see the black come through because those paints are transparent. So if you are using a dark background and you're using transparent paints, that dark background is going to make your painting a lot darker than it was when it was wet. When the pouring medium dries, it dries clear. So the transparent paint allows the dark background to show through. That's why typically I use a color for my background that is in the painting. I am using these metallic paints, which work very, very well with a dark background. It makes them pop. So that's why I would be willing to use dark background, but I will say it is rather transparent, shockingly transparent. And I don't typically use a metallic for a background, so I may be like switching up way too many variables here, but we're gonna see what happens. All right. So these paints have been mixed 1 part paint, 2 parts TriArt Liquid Glass, until I get the consistency that I am looking for, which is, this is about a 3 on my consistency scale. Hopefully you can see it looks like it's in a shadow. I can't tell. But it is kind of making a mound on a mound before it disappears. But you can see it is still coming off in a nice thin stream off of my stick. Hopefully you can see that. You want it to look like it's not getting thin or thick. It's just a constant stream, kind of like a pencil lead. That's how you know you have it properly mixed. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute. But if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards, and each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube that gives you all of the information that you need, the exact paint brands, colors, the consistency, the recipe, of course, the technique, all of the things that I can't fit on one tiny card. I will say these are tarot-sized cards, so they're bigger than a regular playing card. This is a picture of the painting in that video. This box contains a tip for that particular technique, and here at the bottom we have the color palette that was used in this painting, and these two boxes can be used together as the basis of a two-color palette, or you can build off of those two colors. And there are 8 bonus color palette cards. Each one has 5 color palettes. Use all of the colors or just some of the colors, mix and match the bonus color palette cards with the technique cards, and you have more combinations than you could ever paint in a lifetime. These are available at my website, ginadeluca.net, and also at amazon.com. Okay, so I'm going to put some paint in my cup. I'm going to start with the blue. And I'm going to do 2 layers, so I'm only going to use half. I'm adding just a bit of the graphite. I don't want it to overpower the painting. I just want it in there for some depth. Always remember to check the consistency of your paint. Before pouring it in your cup, the sauce will thicken upon standing, or it may, usually does. Okay. Again, just a touch, tiniest bit. And then the purple. Okay. Tiniest drizzle yet. I just wanted to create some depth. Okay, so I'll do the rest. And I am putting the tiniest bit of that iridescent graphite in between these layers. Okay, so I'm going to give me something to pour on. I do prefer to use base coats. I know some people think it's wasteful, but I have the most success when I have a base coat. So to me, it is more wasteful to have to scrape a painting multiple times than it is to use a base coat and nail it the first time. So it just doesn't work out for me. I see people do it without a base coat and it comes out beautifully. When I do it, no bueno. So I'm just gonna spread this out like I'm icing a cake. I'm hoping that I don't regret using a metallic for my base coat. We shall see what happens. Just going to make sure that my edges are primed as well. though they are painted, they are dry. And if your edges are dry, the paint might not slide over it evenly, and so you wind up with more blank spots on the side. But particularly with these round canvases, the sides are puckered. That is just the nature of how the canvas goes on there. And if you don't cover the sides first, if you don't paint them first, it is highly likely that the raised part, the puckers, will just remain blank canvas. So I like to cover them and then cover them again. I want to make extra sure that that is not going to be a problem. I would rather handle it now than fix it later. Okay, so some interesting things happening in this cup. It looks like with the Prism pour, kind of some, let's see if you'll be able to see that. So I'm just going to do a standard ring pour. I'm not going to spin it. Okay. Well, a couple points off for dismount. This work surface is not level, so that kind of bums me out. That's the only thing. When I'm spinning it, I risk going off center, but if I pour it straight, I also risk it going off center because it has a tendency to lean to one side. I must fix this center. So I have plans for this as a background for an embellishment. So we're going to see how this turns out. And I'm not waiting for cells, so I can just give this a quick torch and a spin. Let's pop any of these bubbles that I'm looking at. My center is not centered. I definitely want it centered. This I can spin off and make it more even, but that center has to be in the center. And then it looks very dark from up here, but when you see this from the side, oh my goodness, it is very, very pretty. All right, let's give this a twirl. I'm going mad here. I'm doing something crazy. I'm going to turn this into a rose. I just saw it and I had to do it. Okay. I completely abandoned my original plan. As I have often said, go in with a plan and then work with what the paint gives you. So I could have easily left it the way that it was and painted on it what I was going to paint on it. And then I just, for some reason, went a little nuts and made this happen. So that's what happened. Okay. I think okay, I'm going to leave this alone. Do have some cell action popping up over yonder. I see something that's bothering me, but I kind of feel like I should step away from the painting. Okay. Okay. I'm going to bring you in for a close-up back in a few. Okay, here it is. Lots of bling, tons of bling. So using that iridescent as the base coat, when I scraped it with the skewer in my, it was a rather impulsive move. When I used the skewer, it kind of pulled up some of that iridescent graphite and makes it look like rose petals. Kind of gives it that shading. So this is not what I was planning on happening, but I don't know. I got a wild hair, went for it. So there it is. I am going to move this to where it can dry. And though there is not a lot of contrast right now, when this dries, so I'm going to see if I can zoom in, like these parts right here, if if I can do this without actually touching it. This is the interference, and they look a lot better once they dry. So we shall see what happens. We'll see how this holds up, if it holds up, and what it looks like when it's dry. Okay, well, looks like I'll be embellishing this after all. A bunch of cells popped up, which is good to know, that you can get cells using the liquid glass. Maybe I'll try it with a straight pour. Don't know how that would work because, you know, you need the difference between the matte and the glossy, but who knows? It may or may not work. And it did obviously shift because now my center is up there. I'm having some serious leveling issues with my drying table, I think. But, I mean, the colors look pretty together. There's not a lot of contrast. But again, I was originally intending on using this as a background for something, so I can still do that. But I do love the way these colors played together. As you can see, the finish is beautiful. I mean, but this is the second piece that I've done with the liquid glass, where it has not held its shape. Basically, it kind of moved around a lot. Is that because of the leveling? I don't know. I mean, that definitely has something to do with it. However, I'm wondering, do I need to make it thicker to get it to keep its shape? I don't know. But that's what happened. That's the finished product. Not what I was expecting, but changed a lot. Got a lot of cells popped up there. But that is that's today. That's today's work. Do check out the description box below for links to our Patreon. Join us at Patreon. We have Zooms every week, and lots of bonus content, stuff that you will not be seeing on here. This week we are going to be working on basically getting prepped to do a splash painting. So if you would like the step-by-step real-time instruction for that, that is where you would find that, coming soon. So find us on Patreon, and also in the description box you will find links to my PayPal tip jar if you feel so inclined. My website, GinaDeLuca.net, where you can find my art and music and the fluid art inspiration cards for sale. And you will find the links to my affiliate links. So if you enter through those links to make your online purchases, I will receive a commission at no additional cost to you. And there are also, Satchmo has the zoomies. There are also coupon codes. Oh, Satchmo. And you will also find in the description box the link to our Facebook group. Go make some art. Join us there. Post your masterpieces. Get some questions. And get your questions answered. A good time is had by most. It is the internet after all. And do hang on. As soon as this video ends, you will find the trailer for the Fluid Art Experience, where I will be teaching in April in Seattle. Lots of information in that trailer that will be coming up right after this, so stay tuned for that. But you can go to fluidartexperience.com if you'd like to book your in-person class with me. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, you know, you win some, you lose some. I did kind of come up with a new technique, even though it doesn't look like that anymore. Uh, we know that it is possible, so perhaps I will try that again with a different pouring medium that I am more familiar with, how it will behave. All right, everybody, that is it for me for today. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.